Hi, this is John Lucchetti, and welcome to Backstage Business, a community for digital media entrepreneurs. Got a very special guest tonight. His name is Erik Hammer, and Erik is the guitarist for Lupe Fiasco, whose album Lasers debuted at #1 on the Billboard Top 200 earlier this year. He's also a very in-demand session musician, producer, and a high-level guitar instructor. So, Erik, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, John. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so Erik, as we mentioned in the introduction, you're the lead guitarist for one of the hottest acts on the planet right now, in-demand session musician, high-level private guitar instructor. Can you give us a little background on how you got to where you're at?
I've been playing music since I was a kid. It's always been kind of my passion. I've been fortunate enough to kind of pursue it. I moved to Los Angeles in about 2001. When I was about 18 to study music at the University of Southern California, and I studied music there, and just kind of got out on the scene and would go see people play and introduce myself and try to stay active in the community where I'm meeting people and letting them know who I am and trying to play with them and that kind of stuff. And then that led into trying to get myself out there more. So I figured going after the live playing and playing down in Hollywood and stuff like that, and meeting those people, and then trying to get on recordings and stuff to really push my sound out there. So what kind of led up to where I'm at right now is just meeting musicians that were in town doing the same sort of stuff, and eventually I met some good players that were like-minded and on the same page, and we started working together, and I got introduced to a drummer through a studio session, Kenneth Bam Alexander, and he's the drummer in Lupe's group, and we started working together. We've been working together for quite a bit, and we're producing albums and recordings for people. And then we're just doing a bunch of live stuff, and he got picked up by Lupe, and then when the opportunity arose, he got me in on it. So it was kind of just, I don't want to say a shot in the dark, but that's kind of what it was. I was just out there hitting the streets and going to just the music venues and meeting people and trying to, jump on demos and anything like that to go meet people. And a string of events through recording and performing, led me to meeting Bam, and then, meeting his people, and then getting introduced to Lupe.
Yeah.
So it's, just, kind of hitting the pavement and looking for work, being pursuing of it, not just sitting there and being like, okay, I hope this comes to me. It's like, I studied the music. I am aware of how much the social part of it has to do with, working and everything like that. You can be an awesome player, but if your social skills are bad, I mean, that's going to kind of can your, your progress. So, because bottom line is no one wants to hang out with somebody that's, kind of sucky to hang out with. So
yeah, especially on tour and crowded situations.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No one wants to be around a bad vibe. So I think being aware of those aspects, and then always trying to be involved with it, kind of lead you into those opportunities. You have to be looking at them and looking for them and being pursuing of them, going out. I still do that stuff. Right now I'm kind of in a new level of my music for where I'm at, and I'm starting to do the same kind of stuff that I remember doing when I was hustling new stuff. It's always just going out and trying to meet new people. Okay, I got my contacts that I have right now. What do I do to make that grow?
Yeah.
So primarily it was just pursuing a lot of the live playing and meeting other people, and then that led to getting in a circle of guys that have the same kind of work ethic as I do, and together we help each other and kind of progress to this point. So.
Cool. Yeah, and I mean, and that's awesome to hear, because people don't usually talk about that side of it. They just say, get your chops up and just be a badass guitar player, and then it's going to work out. But it's you're down there, like you said, hitting the pavement, you're hustling, and your chops are there. So
you got to let I mean, it's just like anything else. You got to let people know what you're doing, because let's face it. I mean, how many guitar players are coming to Hollywood every single year?
Right.
With that vision, it's like, okay, I'm going to be the baddest guy. And it's like, I can't lie. When I came down here, it's like I wanted, to think that I was that, and then I kind of got a rude awakening, because it's like everybody wants to be that.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, so you got to be really proactive with it. Not just sitting and shedding. I mean, that's one part. And it's like I spend a good portion of my day working on my guitar playing. But the other part is making phone calls and staying in contact with people, letting people know like when I'm out on tour or when I'm busy or when they can get a hold of me. So it's staying in contact with people, I think, is a pretty important part
Yeah,
of it.
very cool.
Yeah.
So my next question is that, a lot of musicians, they dream, like you mentioned, how many guitarists go to Hollywood alone, let alone, New York and all these other
Yeah.
centers, and they dream of someday playing with a famous band. They think that once they've made it up to your level, that they've made it, they're on easy street, and that's it. But unfortunately, the road's littered with the careers of a lot of musicians who made it big and then they fizzled out. It seems to me that you embody this new paradigm in the music business, where you're making your work multidimensional. You're working with multiple artists. You're producing. You're teaching. You're
Yeah.
getting into all these areas, licensing, and really out there hustling, which does expand the areas in which you can work and of course make money. What advice would you give to the guys that are just starting out, or if you could go back to your in time and give yourself advice when you first got to Hollywood?
Sure. I mean, it's the things that you're saying is talking about like networking. I think that's a huge part of it, man. If I had the opportunity to go back to when I was 18 and first coming down to LA, I think I focused a lot on my playing, which was beneficial, but I didn't do enough of really trying to get out there, because I was kind of felt like I always should be more prepared than I was to actually get out there, and it kind of fucking just dawned on me one day. It was like, I just, while I'm developing my playing, I need to be going out there. So I think if I could go back, I would be going out all the time, every single weekend, finding the players that I like they're playing, and not just guitar players. I'm talking about, drummers, bass players, and keyboard players. Because the thing is, if you meet another guitar player, I have some buddies that are guitar players,
Mm-hmm.
but I try to meet other musicians because, face it, if you're a guitar player, you're trying to hold on to what is your
You're
work.
right.
You're not, some other guy's like, hey man, let me get your work, and you're like, maybe if you're a good buddy of mine and I can't do it, then I might give it to you and just let you sub it for me. But I would say making friends with other musicians of the other instruments is, a very high point in that, because then they get hired for a gig, a drummer in my
Mm-hmm.
case, and they need a guitar player, boom, it goes straight to me. So I think that's a very important thing in diversifying in that, not necessarily just going after one group of guys that you want to play out. Knowing a lot of people on different instruments, because that heightens your chance of being hired for different bands. And kind of diversifies.
Yeah, and can you give me an example of places or venues, online or offline? It sounds like you're going to a lot of shows and meeting people at performances and concerts and things like that. But
Lately for me, what I used to do is go down into Hollywood, and there's a handful of places where there's good music. One of my favorite places is Hotel Cafe,
uh-huh.
and I mean you got the Sunset Strip and everything, but that's not like it was probably in the 80s and 90s when that was like the thing to do, and you had and now everybody's clubbing and stuff. But some of those spots, but I try to find the place where real musicianship is still included, and not just like, okay, let's pay to play here, and then.
Right.
We buy all the tickets and then we sell, and it's a bunch of our buddies that are in Los Angeles. I try to go find the places where, real creativity and stuff is happening. So I think Hotel Cafe is probably one of those places. And as of lately, I haven't really been doing that as much in Hollywood, because I get the opportunity when I'm out on the road to
Mm-hmm.
network with other people. They'll see me perform, and that'll give me the opportunity with the bands that are opening up for us to see my playing and network with them. And so lately, it's just been doing that sort of thing, where the town that I'm in or whatever, that's where I'm pursuing that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So now, event marketing, such as concerts, album releases, movies, product launches. You always see the big Apple products. That's one example. But product launches, they're becoming more and more important, because any content that we want is available 24/7 with the click of a mouse. With the smartphone, there's just so much competition for our attention that but you can't really replicate the vibe of a live event.
Right.
And so it makes it special. So it's becoming more and more important. And when I saw you guys, when I saw Lupe Fiasco perform this past summer, you guys put on such an amazing show. It's like, I'll admit it, a lot of times I'm the guy standing there with my arms folded and I'm just kind of bobbing my head and watching the band, but I couldn't do it. I had to get up and dance. And everybody was like that. I mean, there was, like we talked about earlier, probably 50,000 people, and everybody there was dancing. Everybody was interacting. So can you talk about some of the key things to keep in mind when you're planning an event, a concert, a tour, or something how to build that connection with the audience?